Good afternoon. Can you hear me well? Good, because I don't do very well with a standalone. Well, first, thanks for the organizer to invite me. I'm glad I could make it. I'm from Canada, and it was quite an adventure, but I made it here to the US. First time since March 2020 for me, and I used to come regularly, so. So today I'll talk to you about biosecurity specifically in grower finisher, so nursery finishing, wean to finish, but so post-weaning biosecurity, and a bit of what we do at HyLife. I'm not going to speak for all Canada. I'm not going to speak for everything in Manitoba, but a lot of producers in the western part of Canada are going to follow what not what I'm saying, but you'll see a lot of things we're doing in our growing and finishing part. Sorry, I have to figure this out. Okay, here we go. So I'll give you a brief overview of who we are at HyLife and a bit of the production in Manitoba, so you have an idea when I talk about biosecurity, what I mean. And then why is it so important for us, specifically nursery finishing biosecurity, not just sow barn. And then I'll show you what we're doing, some example of what we've implemented in the last many years, but specifically since 2017. That was our first bad PEDV year. And then, is it worth it? The big question, and there was a question within the previous speaker, is it worth it to spend so much money in biosecurity, specifically in grower finisher? So this is Western Canada you're looking at. In the blue there, you see where HyLife has most of its production. So we're south of Manitoba. We have a loop of production in Saskatchewan. The stars you're seeing there, one is our main office, so that's mostly where our production is located. And then the second star is where our Canadian plant is. So this is pig production in Manitoba and how dense it is. So now we zoom in, just Manitoba. And the big, do I have a pointer on this? I'm not sure. Anyway, where you see a lot of that there, that's a bad PEDV area. And keep that in mind as I'm speaking. So the more pigs you have, the more challenge you have. I'm not teaching you anything here, but that was real for us in Manitoba. And we have a lot of farm in that corner. This is how we operate. So I'm not expecting you to read what's on this slide, but we operate by flow. So top of the pyramid, obviously your board stud are there. Then we get into multiplication, sow nursery finishing, and then you get into commercial sow nursery finishing. So we try to have very linear flows. We try not to mix flows as much as we can. Life is not always perfect, but that's how we try to operate. Now this is a typical farms. Not all our farms are like this, but I thought I'd show one of our typical sites. So HyLife, we have some very significant size, and so you're used to that more in the US, but for us, there's all kind in Manitoba. HyLife, we have large site. This is a 5 barns. We have anything from 1 barn, 2 barns, 3 barns combination. This would be over 10,000 pigs on the same site. And then we have some that are H. And again, you'll see why I'm going there, but we have some H-style barns, so 2 barns linked together with a hallway. Now, why biosecurity matters? Well, obviously, to prevent disease. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, and that could not be more true when we talk about biosecurity. Think about it. We're mostly dealing with virus. We've all talked about virus today, ASF, PRRS, flu. We don't have antibiotics for those viruses. We have sometimes good vaccine, not always. So the only tool we really have that works is biosecurity. So we decided to invest. PEDV was a good wake-up call for us. We add what we thought was good biosecurity, and then we got hit hard. And then we review. We went back and say, something is wrong here. We were so good for so many years. We don't deal with PRRS. Yes, we're lucky. We do have light vaccine strain, but we don't have wild PRRS. At least in HyLife, we've had the occasional intrusion of PRRS. We get rid of it. But PEDV was a good wake-up call for us. This is what I never, ever want to see again. Any of you have went through PEDV? Sorry for the shocking picture, but this is real. This is what we're trying to avoid. Now, this is a sow barn case. PEDV kills pigs in a sow barn. It doesn't really affect nursery finishing, but we still need to care about our nursery finishing biosecurity, and you'll see why. So biosecurity for us in our system and for most people, it depends on where you are in the production pyramid. So you can be on top with your nucleus multiplication, and then as you go down the pyramid, commercial sow, commercial nursery, you hit commercial finishing, and then at the bottom of the pyramid, we consider our slaughter plant there. This is real, but that doesn't mean that as you're going down, it's no biosecurity. It's not the wild, wild west. It's not you don't have rules to follow if you're going to the plant. Actually, we have biosecurity in place even at a slaughter plant. We have biosecurity in place in our commercial finishing. This is just saying that we do put more time and effort and money toward our nucleus and multiplication, but we spend a lot of effort in our finishing too. So why does it matter in a nursery or finishing or wean? We don't have wean to finish, but I would include that too. We know sow barns, when they get hit with PRRS, when they get hit with PEDV, it is devastating. I don't need to tell you, any of you that. It is extremely costly too. You're losing a lot of pigs. Production is affected for months. You have to recover from it. You need to close your herd. Production is disrupted for a long time. So why would we care about like the sow barn we know, but what about the nursery finishing? At least our vision for us, it was not as costly or devastating. If a finishing barn gets stuck with PEDV, really, well, first, a lot of people miss it. It might not affect the pigs so much. They might have to be loose for a few days. They usually recover pretty well if it's not complicated with other disease. In our system, nursery finishing are very often an all in, all out. So if we do get hit with something, too bad. Next batch, we clean up, wash, disinfect, lime the barn, start fresh as long as the sow barn hasn't broke. So why would we even care then if we can fix it so fast? Why should we invest in that? And what is the payback? Another issue with biosecurity in general, but even more when you talk about nursery finishing, is it requires constant effort. It's not something you can ever let go of. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of money, and it's every single minute of every single day. It's not something you can say, hey, it's Monday morning, I'm happy, I'm going to shower in. It's Friday, I want to go home, I'm not going to shower. So that's very difficult for us human. It's just not in our nature. We have to keep it up there all the time. And it is not rewarding. So what I mean by that is, if you do everything perfectly, think about it, every single day, you show up at the farm, everything is perfect, you're following everything your vet told you to do, nothing happened. How is that a reward? How do you know you've done everything if nothing happened? So we're going against human nature here. Every single day we have to fight to keep everybody up to their toes and say, okay, you have to do all of that, and if staff ask, well, why? So you don't get a disease that you've not seen in 6 years, 10 years? So it's really hard. The other thing too is, how do you measure success? Like I say, if you do it perfectly well and you invest tons of money, the result will be nothing. So how you know how many outbreaks you prevented? If you're going to convince somebody to invest in a new truck wash, how are you going to guarantee that by using this truck wash, you'll save this much money because you'll save this many outbreaks? It's very difficult math to do. And if there is an outbreak, then it's automatically a failure in your biosecurity. So it's a pretty black and white answer in this case. So this is why biosecurity was so important, and is so important for us in nursery finishing, not just sow barn. Finishing barns are not in a bubble on an island on their own. I wish they were. They're not. They're very often the neighbor of a sow barn. And I told you this is expensive for us when a sow barn breaks. It's expensive for everyone. Well, think of your finishing as the neighbor now of a sow barn. This is one of our bad area for PED in Manitoba. Might not look like a lot of barn, but we'll zoom in. Those are 10,000 head finishing, 10,000 head finishing, 10,000 head finishing, and then we have a little 3,000 head sow barn there. Well, guess what? 2 years straight, the Sequoia finishing up there broke with PED. What happened? The sow barn broke with PED. No matter how much effort we put into it, the wind just brought it to us, or whatever you want to call it, area spread. It just put a lot of pressure on your sow herd that are close to big finishing site. This is another even worse area that I have to deal with. So we have 6,000 plus sow herd there. Oh, but look at that. We also have big finishing site and a couple nursery site that are pretty big. What happened when nursery break with PED or when the finishing break? The sow barn just go one by one. So for us, that was a wake-up call. See, if we don't control our nursery finishing, we're doomed. A sow barn will break. So what does it look for us day to day? So I'm not going to teach you anything, but I'll just go through a few things that we are doing. So downtime, shower, Danish entry, deadstock, transport trailers, manure spreading, and then I'll talk about monitoring, and then one very important one, biocontainment. So what does it mean for us, downtime? We all know about downtime. This is just a part of our chart, by the way. Again, I'm not expecting you to read it, but we have a very significant size chart, and then I zoomed in here, and what you're seeing here is finishing site against finishing site. We have downtime between different finishing barn. Yes, we do, because they have different health status. It might be different. Maybe one is positive for APP, the other one is not. Maybe we know some flu is going around in a farm that we don't want to carry to a next farm. Like I say, we're fortunate to not deal with highly virulent PRRS, but I would for sure play if it was the case. So we do have downtime anywhere from 1 night up to 3 nights, 5 also for international travelers, and that also includes finishing. We don't recommend anyone going to multiple sites in a day without showering, and ideally we need to split those sites in a couple days. Shower and facility, that is not just for sow barn or multiplication. Our finishing are equipped with, or nursery and finishing are equipped with shower facility. We like one-way traffic. Now, it's not a perfect world. We still have a few finishing sites that don't have the perfect shower setting, but what we like is a one-way traffic, so you don't step over where you just walk in. You leave your clothes on one side, take a shower, go into the farm, and then if you exit to go to the next building, it's an exit door. You're not coming back through the shower. We have some that have detached office, and some are attached to the farm you're going. It depends on the size. So back to the picture I showed first. So what I circled there is an office. So how do we do it? Well, you first come in, you drive to the office, you park, there's a designated parking, you shower into this one-way showers, you get out from the back door, and then we have a color code for clothes. So that helps us just to increase acceptance and our people. Like if you see, so for us, outside is blue, inside is gray. So if someone sees someone in gray outside, red flag, they can at least have a discussion or contact the vet team. So that's one color code we've adopted a couple years ago. We also have yard vehicles. So obviously you've showered in, you have your working clothes. What's the point if you're jumping in your own vehicles that goes everywhere? So we have yard vehicles that the staff can use to go from barn to barn, or you can walk, not always fun at -40 in winter. And then we have a Danish entry in each barn. And I'll explain, you all know what Danish entry is, but this is how we've kind of come up with. So a lot of poster, and we try to standardize it. So one thing is, we all had Danish entry. We've all been showering in our finishing for years. So this is not new to PED, it's just we've improved the process. One thing we realized with Danish entry, it was not always clear where the line was, or we had a bench, but some people were doing it differently. So we tried to standardize it so it was always done the same, and no matter which farm you go to, it's quite simple to do. So we have over 160 sites, so it has to be something people can carry and knows what to do. So the first bench you're seeing there, you take your shoes off as you step over the bench, and then that's in that corner there, that's where you would change your clothes. So you take all your blue clothes off, put them on a hook, take your socks off, and then as you jump over, we don't see it, it's on the picture there, as you jump over the second bench, you put your socks on, and then you get your gray clothes on. Now, if we would build a perfect barn, what's missing there is a sink to wash your hand. Barns have been built, we went after and did that. So what we have is a disinfectant for the hands, and then the sink is on the other side. Deadstock pickup, also critical, even if it's a finishing barn. So what we have at HyLife, we have 3 different types of deadstock pickup. What I mean by HyLife dedicated trailer, that's something, I guess, special to us, but it is a trailer that is used, and they are on site. So we developed that after PED 2017 for our sow barn. So the sow barn has a trailer, they do their own deadstock, put the trailer at the end of the driveway, and then the deadstock driver comes, hook up the trailer, bring it to a central depot. So we have a different way of doing it. Finishing were never involved. We were using the same trailer from barn to barn to barn. So after 2019 outbreak, we say, okay, we need to learn from this. So then we went with at least our largest site, they have the dedicated trailer for the finishing barn. So no more barn to barn for the largest site. We still have some that share a trailer. And then third-party pickup would be your normal rendering process where you have a tractor, you load the bin, and the rendering trucks come in and pick it up. We have some of that with the caveat that it's a designated truck for HyLife. So it's a third-party company that but they have a truck dedicated to HyLife that only do HyLife barn in the order that the vets ask. Transport, that was also a big learning curve. We do not do any reuse of trailers once they've been to a plant. So back up a couple years ago, before 2017, we were doing reuse of trailers. We were always thinking, what's the big deal? PD was not around, PRRS was not too bad, and we always thought if we break at the end of a finishing batch, within the last 3 weeks, we'll just dump it fast, wash, disinfect, and start again. So no big deal. So we were reusing trailers on the market side. After PED, that was a big no-no, because if the plant ever have PED pigs delivered there, you bring back PED to your finishing site, And we have a rules for us. We do not ship highly shedding PED pigs to a plant. So if you get PED and you're 2 weeks from being done with your batch, well, too bad. No, you now hold those pigs for a month until they're done shedding before any plant will take them in Manitoba. So this is a very strict rules, but that has helped us a lot to control PED. Don't put PED shedding pigs on a trailer. So that became very important for us. We cannot afford to break a batch that is going to be closed in 2 weeks. So we stopped all reuse of trailers. Well, we had to invest in more wash bay. We've also developed a lot of bake bay now, so we could dry them faster. Every trailer is washed, disinfected. Most are baked now. From one of our bake bay, 95% of the trailer are baked. The other one we have in laboratory, about 60% are baked, but everything is dried. We also try to limit multi-pickup. It's not perfect. We try to not go to 5 different finishing to pick up market pigs. We'll try to stay on the same site if we can. And then we'll limit back and forth with nurseries. So when you're emptying a nursery that goes to a finishing, we will allow back and forth. If the nursery is being empty, the finishing is empty when you do that, and if it's not a continuous flow finishing. If you're going to deliver pigs to a continuous flow finishing, it's a one-way trailer. The trailer goes there, deliver their pigs, they might reload on the same site for market, go to the plant. So I know our logistic team doesn't like it. You need a lot more trailers. You need a lot of washing capacity to do that. But that's how you control disease, because if you do back and forth, you'll bring it straight to your nursery. So we had to increase a lot our capacity. We had already some good capacity, but like I say, with all those changes, we had to have more trailers and more wash bays. We have now 4 wash bays for livestock, including 1 at the slaughter plant. We have 3 bake bays now. The last one is just starting to be in operation now. We have 1 wash bay dedicated just for those trailer I showed you for Deadstock, and then we have a wash bay just for company truck. We also use, as far as vehicles, like production manager vehicles, we can also go to in town, just a normal car wash. Manure spreading has been very important for us in Manitoba with PED control. So we do schedule manure spreading based on your health status, particularly when you broke with PED, when was the last time of your break. And we will require downtime and washing disinfection of those equipment. We will sequence it in a certain specific order, even though you're a nursery or a finishing barn. It doesn't matter actually what type of barn you are, we're going to make sure you are not bringing PED or another disease to your site. Okay, now, biosecurity is good, but how do we know it's working? And very often, this is a very important point for finishing. For PED, it's easy to miss a PED in a finishing barn. You have to have staff that is very alert and will not miss anything, but I'm sure I've missed some case, and I know that we did because of the surveillance we do at the plant. So we do regular monitoring on PRRS, myco, flu, circo, and PED is as soon as you have any looseness in a barn. For us, it's an emergency. We collect samples, we send it for PED testing. So we do a lot of surveillance, so we know what's in our finishing barn. That's how I know, I'm pretty confident we don't have a wild type of PRRS because we sample a lot of pigs all the time. We also do surveillance at the slaughter plant. And I don't know if that's something the US do, I have no clue, but this is for us started in 2017, and this is something we will not let go of. So what it means is our own slaughter plant, but also the other federal slaughter plant, we swab every ramp every day for PED. And since 2017, a lot of money has been involved there, but it is really, really useful. So it's a surveillance for the province, and this is how we can detect if PED comes in our province without us not, like it could be a finishing barn that break that don't know, the ramp will test positive. Extremely sensitive, we do the Swiffer test, and we do it daily. Every time there's a pig unloaded on a ramp at our plant, that ramp will be swabbed at least once a day. And we know it works. And if we do find a positive, we know exactly what we deliver to that plant. We go down in a trace back, and we go test in the farm. We also have special precaution for PED season. So for us in Manitoba, it's kind of unique, I guess, or I'm not sure if it is unique, but for us, PED is a summer disease. It started in May, and it ends in September, October. It goes with manure season. What we've done for the last couple of years is we've implemented extra precaution in preparation for PED season. A CAS line, so a control access zone, means everybody parks really far from the barn and they walk to the barn. Why do we do that? Is in case the barn break with PED, I always tell our staff, I only know the status of a barn after you break. Don't expect me to tell you you're PED negative, I can guess, But until something happens, we're just assuming you're negative based on clinical signs. And with PRRS, you can miss it for 2, 3 weeks, maybe a month. With PED, you miss it probably for a week to 2 weeks. Yes, I'm sure, because we do a lot of testing. So that's what, as soon as we get into PD season, we ask the staff to park really far. So in case they break with PD, they're not parked by the farm, and then they use their vehicles to go see their friends and go to the grocery store and carry with them lots of PD. Because we saw a lot of vehicles during our PD outbreak, and those cars are full of PD virus. We use lime in the driveway. So if the feed truck needs to cross the CAS line, obviously, the livestock truck needs to, so their tires are covered in lime. Is it perfect? At least it's a wake-up call to anyone coming to a farm and say, what is that big white powder? At least it reminds them something is going on. We do a lot of dust control because we believe that's partly how PD is spreading for us in Manitoba. So the black picture you see there, it's an air intake of a sow barn, and we cover it with like just your garden fabrics, bought at Canadian Tire or one of those home store. And then we cover our air intakes. Yes, it limits air. We just measure and make sure it doesn't get too hot. We're in Manitoba. Summer is not that hot, I guess, compared to some south states. It gets tricky in July, August, but at least for May and June, we can keep those up, and we believe it helps at least to catch the dust. It's not a filtration system. It doesn't catch the virus as per se, but it will catch a lot of dust and pollen, and we think that has helped us to keep some of the PED out of our farms. We also do the dust control. That's very expensive. That's calcium or magnesium. So we wet the roads in front of our barns. The driveway, again, we spent a lot of money on that in the last 2 years, and we think it has helped. Biocontainment is very important. So that's one thing we take very seriously is if you suspect any disease, PRRS, PED, anything worse, the first thing you do, and we train our staff, is you stop every movement. You don't put pigs on a trailer if you don't know what you have. And if you think it's PED, in our case, you do not move those pigs. So we stop movement. We have ways of doing it. We have mass email now. We can stop movement in a farm in a second. And it's pigs, it's people, it's movement between barns, it's movement to slaughter. I'm meaning like every movement stop. So within one email from me, the whole company frees for that one barn, and nobody goes there, nobody goes out until we figure out what's going on. No visitors are allowed, no Deadstock pickup is allowed, feed delivery, only if it's critical, we'll try to delay it as much as possible. If not, the feed truck will come back and get a full CND. And then we test. And we get a quick result, and then we figure out what to do. Sharing of information, that's also key in any biosecurity system or biocontainment. We've been, like I say, hit hard with PED in 17 and 19, and one thing that was really good that came out of that for us in Manitoba is vets and producers are working together. We've understood that this is a disease we're all in, and we share that disease even though we don't want to, so we all need to be in line with what do we do once. So if you break with PED, the first thing you do after you stop your movement and organize testing, you call the government, we have provincial government, the CVO, and you call your friend's vet and say, oh, sorry, I have a case of PED. We share maps. There's no secret there. This is where it is. Stay away from that area. We've discovered that trying to keep it secret doesn't work. Let's just share where it is, what's happening with the industry to try to help everybody. We also share if we find a new strain of PRRS and also flu. We start to have a lot of discussion around flu this year too, saying, hey, you know what? If we detect a new strain of flu, I think we should start sharing with the group of vet we are. And just the more information we have, the better control we can have on those diseases. So for us, PED is a provincially notifiable disease, so even if you decide not to share, as soon as you get positive results, the province will be notified. Influenza is the new one we're trying to have more discussion around now. We have monthly vet call, so it was daily during the worst of PED, and we kept those calls monthly with the industry and the vet, even when there's nothing happening. So does it work? That's a good question. So we've done a lot of investment. Like I say, we do a lot of things around biosecurity in our sow barn nursery finishing. As it work? Like I say, for PRRS, we're very fortunate. We don't deal with a lot of wild type, so I don't have a lot of real-life example. Whenever we have a case, we control it very quickly. Usually, we limit it to a farm or a flow if we have to. But we're also very careful. Let's say sow barn break with a wild type of PRRS, as happened in the past. We're extremely careful where those pigs will go for nursery and finishing. We try not to send them to a big area like I show you with tons of sow barn in the area. And we do the same with PED. during PED crisis, we would also raise pigs from other producer, or we would send our pigs to other producer if needed. If there's a better barn somewhere for those pigs that doesn't involve breaking a sow barn by accident, as an industry, we did that. We did share, we exchanged barn and said, you know what, for this one batch, can you raise those pigs? Because that would be safer for the whole industry. So this is our PED case since 2014 in Manitoba, number of cases per year. So 14, 15, 16 were not too bad. Like I say, 17 was terrible for us. And in Manitoba, we report every single case. So if a sow barn break, you move pigs to a nursery, the nursery now count. And then 2019, we thought, yay, we figured it out. It's looking better. 17, we got hit hard. 2020 was actually not bad, 3 cases only. And we were doing so good this year up to this week. I got the first case in Manitoba. So we have a sow barn right now breaking with PED. We'll do a full investigation. There is no PED in any farm right now, but we do have it in our assembly yard, and it's still in our lagoon, Manure. So we will do an investigation. Yeah, too bad, we broke. We were going to have 0 this year. So this is biosecurity. I think it cannot be described better than that. Biosecurity protocols, they're always as strong as your weakest link. So if we think we can really control PED and PRRS without taking care of our finishing biosecurity, I think we'll be in circle, and we'll be in a meeting like this in 20 years talking of why do we still have PED, why do we still have PRRS? Because you have a bunch of shedding pigs right beside your sow barn that break the sow barn, and then the sow barn send those nursery pigs somewhere else, and then we spread them all over everywhere because we did not pay attention to nursery finishing biosecurity. So for us, this is critical. We know we take it very seriously, and I think it has worked. So that's it.
Not gonna run. Okay, do we have any questions? Take before the break?
In that region, you said there was lots of pigs. Were there lots of different owners of pigs, or just your pigs?
No, so the first picture I showed, that's the one you saw was only our pigs. The other picture, as of last year, it's all our pigs almost except one barn. But before that, 17, 19, we didn't own that many farms. So we're sharing Manitoba is a bit different. There's pretty much 4 large producers and 3 now. So it makes our life easier too. When you want to talk to a vet or another owner, we don't have 60 people at a table. So maybe that has helped a lot. On the transport side too, there's 1 main transporter, a few small ones. But really when it comes to get together, we don't have a lot of people to get together and fix stuff. So in the picture you've seen, the second one, it was a mixed bunch, at least 3 big companies.
Go ahead.
Did you do any feed mitigants?
No, not yet.
Can you repeat the question?
If we did any feed mitigants, no, we have not. We've looked into it, we've tested some, but at this point we don't. It's interesting, yeah. So we don't specifically for biosecurity. I'm extremely fortunate to work for a company that believe in high health and biosecurity. We think if our pigs have no disease, they'll be producing better. So I've always been fortunate on that, asking them to make investment that works like this. As long as we can show we don't break, it's been good for that. But I would like an actual way of measuring that. So if anyone has but how do you measure when it doesn't happen?
The question there was there cost-benefit analyses to the procedures they have in place? So
I can maybe just say we didn't have 82 outbreaks of PED, so we're good.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Appreciate your time.